How Stoics faced slavery, war, and tyranny without breaking. History has never been gentle. There have been centuries of conquest, cruelty, and corruption. Nations fell to invaders. Families were torn apart by slavery. Entire cities starved under siege. And emperors, tyrants drunk on power, dictated life and death with a single gesture. If you or I had lived in such times, how would we have endured it? Could we have faced chains without despair? Could we have survived war without losing our humanity? Could we have lived under tyranny without breaking? The Stoics did. They were not superhuman. They felt pain. They feared death. They knew suffering. But they carried within themselves something unshakable. A philosophy that built a fortress no sword could pierce, no chain could bind, no tyrant could conquer. In this video, we will enter their world. We will walk with Epictetus, the slave who found freedom in chains. We will march beside MarcusAurelius, the emperor who wrote wisdom in the mud of war. We will stand with Seneca, who faced tyranny and death with calm. And we will uncover how these Stoics endured the worst storms of history without breaking. 1. Epictetus, the slave who was free. Picture Rome in the 1st century. Magnificent temples, crowded markets, senators clothed in purple. And in the shadows, slaves, countless men, women, and children living as property. Among them was Epictetus. Born into slavery, he owned nothing, not even his own body. His master was Epictetus, a powerful man close to Emperor Nero. Tradition says his master once twisted his leg until it was broken. Epictetus did not scream nor curse. He simply said, "If you continue, you will break it, and when it is broken, it will remain broken." Calm, unshaken. What kind of mind meets cruelty with composure? Epictetus discovered a truth most of us overlook. Our bodies, our possessions, our reputations, these can be taken. But our mind, our will, our judgment, these belong to us alone. He said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus himself can overpower my will." When we think of freedom, we think of chains falling away. Epictetus shows us another kind, the freedom that remains even in chains. And when he was eventually freed, he became one of the greatest philosophers of his age, teaching emperors, generals, and ordinary people alike. His lesson for us is clear. Even when life binds you through poverty, illness, unfair bosses, broken systems, you can still choose how to think, how to act, how to live. Your freedom is within. 2. MarcusAurelius, the emperor in the storm of war. Now imagine the opposite life, not a slave, but an emperor, not powerless, but holding absolute power. This was MarcusAurelius, remembered as the philosopher king. Yet his reign was no golden age of peace. He spent much of his rule not in Rome's palaces, but in military camps on the cold frontiers. The empire was attacked by Germanic tribes. The plague, later called the Antonine Plague, spread like wildfire, killing millions, including his own loved ones. Treachery lurked in the Senate. Soldiers deserted. Entire provinces rebelled. In those nights of chaos, Marcus would sit in his tent, under lamplight, and write to himself. His private notes, never meant for the world, later became the book we know as Meditations. He reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." While armies clashed outside, Marcus fought a deeper war against despair, against pride, against anger. He taught himself that the external world was never fully his to command, but his own soul, that was his true empire. Where others cursed fate, Marcus practiced acceptance. Where others clung to comfort, he embraced duty. Where others sought escape, he sought virtue. Even in plague, in betrayal, in endless war, he wrote, Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. His greatness was not in victories, but in the fact that he ruled himself before he ruled an empire. 3. Seneca, facing tyranny without fear. Then there was Seneca, a wealthy senator, a brilliant writer, and tutor to the young Nero. When Nero became emperor, Seneca hoped to guide him with wisdom. But power corrupts. Nero became cruel, paranoid, and bloodthirsty. For years, Seneca lived at court under constant suspicion. He wrote letters and essays urging calm, restraint, and virtue. But the corruption around him grew. Finally, Nero turned on him. Seneca was accused of treason and ordered to take his own life. How did Seneca respond? Did he beg? Did he curse the emperor? Did he despair? No. He calmly gathered his friends. He embraced his wife. He spoke words of philosophy one last time, and then he met death as he had taught others, with dignity. He once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." For Seneca, life was never measured in years, but in how we used them. Tyranny could strip him of wealth, power, and even life, but not of wisdom, not of calm, not of virtue. His lesson for us is sharp. We may not face a tyrant emperor, but we do face bosses who belittle us, systems that exploit us, people who try to control us. We can't always escape them, but like Seneca, we can decide to meet them with dignity, not despair. 4. The Stoic secret, the fortress within. So what united these three? The slave Epictetus, the emperor MarcusAurelius, and the statesman Seneca. They faced different storms, chains, war, tyranny, but their answer was the same: build the inner fortress. The Stoics taught that inside each of us is a citadel no army can breach. It is made not of stone, but of reason, courage, and virtue. A master may command your labor, but not your integrity. A war may destroy your home, but not your character. A tyrant may take your life, but not your choice of how to meet death. Freedom, peace, dignity, they are not gifts from fortune. They are choices. And as long as we protect the inner fortress, we are unbreakable. 5. What it means for us today. Now, you might say, but I am not a slave. I am not an emperor. I am not living under a tyrant. And that may be true, but do we not face our own forms of slavery, war, and tyranny? Many are slaves to debt, to addictions, to the endless comparison of social media. Many fight wars not with swords, but with grief, insecurity, depression, or anxiety. Many live under tyrants, not emperors, but toxic bosses, unfair systems, or even the tyranny of their own emotions. The Stoics remind us, the battlefield is always the same, the enemy is always the same, and the victory is always the same: ruling yourself. When life is unjust, choose justice. When people are cruel, choose kindness. When circumstances are crushing, choose courage. This is not naive optimism, it is the deepest strength. If a slave could be free in his mind, if an emperor could stay calm in power, if a condemned man could meet death with calm, then what excuse do we have in the face of our far lighter trials? 6. How to train like the Stoics. The Stoics did not endure storms by chance. They trained. We can too. Practice voluntary hardship. Epictetus advised sleeping on the ground, eating simple food, wearing rough clothing. Why? To remind yourself that you can endure less so that fear of loss never rules you. Negative visualization. Marcus Aurelius practiced imagining the death of loved ones, the loss of wealth, the betrayal of friends. Not to be morbid, but to prepare his soul so that nothing could shock him. Distinguish what's in your control. Epictetus called this the foundation of freedom. Ask yourself daily, what is mine to decide? What is not? Act where you can, accept where you cannot. Guard your reason. Seneca wrote that nothing should master us, not anger, not desire, not fear. Your reason is your fortress. Guard it well. These are not abstract theories. They are weapons. And with them, you too can face life's storms, unbroken. 7. The legacy of the unbroken. Think of what the Stoics left us. A slave, Epictetus, who proved freedom is of the mind. An emperor, MarcusAurelius, who ruled himself before ruling Rome. A statesman, Seneca, who met tyranny and death with no fear. Different men, different trials, one unshakable spirit. That is the Stoic legacy. Not wealth, not power, not fame, but the power to remain unbroken. The storms of history never truly end. They change shape. They come to us
not as chains or legions, but as stress, injustice, betrayal, and fear. But the lesson of the Stoics is eternal. You are not what happens to you. You are how you respond. Your freedom is not given by governments. Your peace is not built by fortune. Your strength is not measured by comfort. It is within you, in your reason, in your virtue, in your inner fortress. So when life presses on you, when you feel enslaved by fear, at war with yourself, or crushed by powers beyond you, remember the Stoics. Remember Epictetus, who was free in chains. Remember Marcus, who was calm in war. Remember Seneca, who was dignified in death. And remember, no one and nothing can break you unless you surrender your mind. Stand firm, be strong, and live as the Stoics did, unbroken.